Hello there guys, it's your boy Brown here, back again on a video, and today I'm going to do what if Deku was betrayed, part 1, hope you enjoy it. So like we can see, it's a new series, so yes, I know there's a lot of betrayed stories in YouTube. And okay, I'm going on a rant a bit here, so bear with it. So most of them, the one I saw, have such a bizarre start that actually put me off a bit. The major issue that I see in those stories is they always start when it's like season 4 or beyond that. Like, I don't understand how they can do that. How does Class 1A think that the guy that destroyed his arm multiple times to save their lives, to the point of if he break them again, he will not able to use them, can betray them? He break both of his arms saving Koda in summer. He endangered his body to save Eri. He broke his fingers like until they become purple to make Todoroki use his flames. Like, why? After all of this, I don't care if you have proof. I will need to confirm it myself, I don't care. Second issue, All Might. Why? Why All Might? The dude literally know him before he got a quirk. He saw him trying saving Bakugo while he's quirkless. He trained his body to the breaking point for 10 months. Even with this, he still didn't feel like he earned one for all. And this is on top of what I mentioned earlier. Like, I don't get it. Same for Ida. He saved his life. If not for Deku, he will be dead. And one more point, it's not major, but they always make him dating Oraka. Like, why? It doesn't add anything. It's just like, hey, by the way, he's dating Oraka, then move on. Like, why? She's already his first friend. Making her betray him is already bad enough. You don't need to make her his girlfriend. It's just unnecessary. Okay, rant over. So if you guys watch me for a while, I always like to give like almost a reasonable reason why I give my character that power, or making certain characters do certain things outside of normal, like from canon. Just like Deku's parents in Abandoned. He is supposed to be abandoned, so I changed them, but only them. And Mitsuki, because close friends, you know. Beyond that, nothing. So for this story to work, we need to find a time where Class 1A are surprised about Deku's development, so the betray part will be a bit more reasonable. So for me, I think the best time is right after the Stain arc. Because at that time, Deku went from breaking his bones each time he moved while using his quirk to be able to use 5% full cowling. It was not perfect, but everyone was shocked about his sudden power up. So while Class 1 are doing their own test and they saw Deku's development and they were shocked, meanwhile the League of Villains, especially Shigaraki, is angry more than usual because of what Stain did to him. He wanted to hurt him, but he's already in Tartarus. Then he remembered something. He did say that Deku and All Might are the only people that he can see as true heroes. Sure, he cannot touch All Might because he's All Might, but Deku, maybe he can do something for that brat. So he started looking for ideas, and that catch Alphonse's attention. He tell him, what's wrong, Shigaraki? Shigaraki tell him what he hate about Stain, and he want to hurt everything that he hold dear. And the only two things that he holds dear, are All Might and Deku. We cannot touch All Might without the new moves, so you want to hurt that kid, right? Shigaraki nod. What do you have in mind, Shigaraki? All for One ask. Hurting him physically will not be enough. I want to destroy every chance that he have to become a hero. So what I got from this, you want to frame him? Shigaraki nod. I will see what I can do. Give me some time. Thank you, master, Shigaraki reply. So while the event are playing the same as the anime, Orph One finally found a plan. He will use the footage of Deku fighting in Hosu and use the magic of editing. He will make him almost like he's helping Stain. And after he's done, he tells Shigaraki the news. Shigaraki grin, and by using the traitor, Class 1A, they were able to get a hold of that video, but the League of Villains, or All For One, is not an idiot. He knows that he needs to send it to someone that will believe it. And the perfect target is Kaminari. He's an idiot. So when he got the video, he quickly called Kirishima, Mina, Bakugo, Mineta, and by coincidence, Oraka. Yes, I know what I said earlier, but trust me, first off, they're not dating, they're still, as the anime, just friends. On top of that, trust me, I might have a way of making it work. So after Kaminari got the video, his eyes widen, then he called for the group near him. He told them to see this. Bakugo shout and tell him to share it. He doesn't want to see any stupid video. He's still pissed about Deku stealing his moves, so he's in a bad mood. He tell him no, it's not a stupid video, you need to see this. He tell them in a serious tone that catch everyone off guard. Kaminari, serious? So he showed them the video. Wait, that's Deku with Stain? What's going on? Was he working with him? That means he's working with the League? Remember, everyone still believes that Stain is working with the League. So if Deku is working with Stain and Stain is working with the villains or League of Villains, that means Deku is working with the League. Everyone are in disbelief, especially Oraka, but Bakugo got angry and tell them, so that's how, huh? They ask him what does he mean. He told them that Deku was quirkless before UA. Then suddenly, before he got in UA, he have a quirk. So what are you saying? They tell him that Deku got his quirk from them, the League. Oraka and Mineta are a bit suspicious about this, but the others are almost convinced. Bakugo because he's the one who's telling them what to do, Kaminari because he's an idiot. Kirishima tried to defend Deku, but Bakugo tell him, don't you want to hurt the League the same way they hurt us? And after he said that, both Mina and Kirishima agreed with him. Oraka on the other hand still a bit defensive, but Bakugo shouted at her and told her it's not the time for your feelings. We all know that you have a crush on the traitor, but this time, shut up. It's not the time for your feelings. On top of that, he's a villain, so you fell in love with a villain. Oraka tried to defend herself, and with Bakugo's pushing and also Mina, she went on board, but Mineta stayed quiet. Deku did save him in USJ by sacrificing 3 fingers. And also trying to punch Shigaraki away when he was trying to touch Tsuyu, and the state that he ended up in after the USJ, you know, broken legs, and what he did in Sport Festival to Todoroki. He's doubting the video, but he's afraid of Bakugo at the same time, so he kept his mouth shut. So after that, Kaminari asked him for the plan. The Bakugo grin, an evil grin, and told them, let's make him pay. As after he told them the plan, Mineta sneaked away to tell Aizawa before anything happened. So the group start planning their ambush on Deku, and because he's friends with Oraka, she called him and tell him to meet her. He asked her if something is wrong. You sound worried, Oraka. She's having some second doubts, but with Bakugo and Mina beside her, she tell him it's nothing. So after she ended the call, Deku made his way toward where she told him to meet, and the second he did, Bakugo and his group jump on him, with Bakugo using his explosion and letting out his anger toward him. Deku obviously was hurt by the attack and tell him, what's wrong? Why did you do that? Bakugo tell him to shut up, you traitor. Trey what? Then Kirishima punched him in the gut. What are you doing? Deku told them. Then he saw they are going to attack him again. He tries to use full counting to move away, but because he's still new to it and it takes some time to activate. On top of that, he needs to stand still for a bit. So Mina used the opportunity and throw acid at Deku, burning him. He screamed in pain, then Kaminari touched him and shocked him. And that made Deku fall on his back. He was clearly in pain. And when he looked up by the corner of his eye, he saw Oraka. He asked for her help and extended his hand toward her. She took it. He was happy that someone is helping him, then she used her quirk on him, lifting him up in the sky and slamming him as hard as she can. Deku screamed in pain because he's already beaten. Then he looked at Oraka. Why? I thought that you were my friend. Me? Oraka replied. I will never be friends with a person like you. Deku's eyes widen and he can feel something inside of him start shattering. And then Bakugo starts enjoying it and tell him he always wanted to do this. You should have learned your place already, Deku. A useless like you doesn't deserve to be a hero. Then all of them gang up on him and start using their quirks. So here what happened. They broke his legs, his right arm, and they burned the right side of his face and his eyes, so he's blind. Did you see Savatar from the Flash? Yeah, basically the same place. But you also have to include a bit of his hair. So after Deku was on the ground bloody and beaten and on the verge of dying, Bakugo walked toward him to land the finishing blow, but before he can do it, Aizawa cancel his quirk and wrap him with his scarf and tell him, what the hell are you doing? The others chime in and tell him Deku is the traitor. Traitor? What? Doesn't matter now. By the way, Mike is with him, so Aizawa tell him to take Deku to Recovery Girl ASAP. He nodded, and after he saw his condition firsthand and up close, he was shocked. He started running, and I mean running toward the Recovery Girl. Then Aizawa glared at his students and tell them, now, what's this thing about him being the traitor? Do you have proof? They show him the video, and the second he saw it, Aizawa get angry, his eyes glow red, and he shot at them, you morons! The video is fake! All of them were shocked. What? Yeah, on top of that, Deku was fighting Stain. He was not with him. They were shocked even more. Deku fought Stain, but we heard that Endeavor saved them. That was just a cover-up. Deku was fighting Stain, but we decided to give Endeavor the credit so Izuku would not have any problems. Everyone felt horrible, well, except Bakugo. Then Aizawa add, even if that was the case, you shouldn't have done that. You don't have your license, so you don't have the right to hurt anyone. But no buts! All of you, come with me. Then he grabbed Bakugo tightly and looked him dead in the eyes and tell him, I should have expelled you in the first day of UA. Back to Mike, he burst into a Recovery Girl's office. She told him, why are you doing that? But the second she saw Deku, she told him to put him on a bed right now. She did, and she told him to exit. She needed to do surgery ASAP. So while she's doing that, Aizawa escorted the students to basically a classroom and told them to stay here. And after a few minutes, he returned with Nizu and Prince Mike, and they are not happy at all. Nizu bluntly told them, give me one reason why I should not expel you and put this in your record, so no agency or hero school will accept you. They felt horrible and they told him that they did a mistake and they are sorry. Nizu, for the first time, or for class 1A, they saw him angry. Sorry will not fix him. Then Aizawa looked at Bakugo and told him, was he not your childhood friend? Why did you do this to him? You know him better than anyone. Bakugo got angry and told him that nerd should know his place a while back, and he deserved what happened to him today. He always looked down on me, and this is the result. All of them are surprised and shocked. Then Aizawa get angry. For the first time in years, President Mike saw Aizawa this angry. It took everything that he had to stop him. Then Izu walked to Bakugo and tell him, whatever happened to Izuku, your career, your future no longer exists, Katsuki Bakugo. Pick up your things and leave my school. Bakugo got angry and he was going to attack him or shout at him. He was stopped by a whip, midnight. She just arrived with some other teachers after they heard what happened, so she told him to leave now. Bakugo started throwing a fit, so she knocked him out using her quirk. Then Izu looked at the others and told them, and for you, I haven't decided yet what happened for you, or at least fully, but for now consider yourself blacklisted. And just hope that young Midoriya will survive, because if he don't, his death will be on your hand and in your record for the rest of your life. Then Aizawa and Mike was able to calm him down somewhat, looked at Oraka and told her, I thought that you were his friend, and you betrayed him like this. Oraka burst into tears and fell to her knees. Aizawa just turned around and left the room. He went straight to Recovery Girl, and when he entered, he asked her how is he. Alive, but what? She removed the curtain and Aizawa was shocked. Then she explained his situation. His legs are broken and they need some time to heal. His right hand is permanently damaged, so even my quirk will not be able to heal that. Aizawa is shocked and he's holding back tears. Even though Deku was a problem child, Aizawa did grow attached to them. All the class. That's why he did not expel them. But now he's having some doubts. Then Recovery Girl add, and there is more? She nodded sadly. He have permanent burn marks on his right side of his face, and he's blind also by that eye. I still think that he can become a hero, but the road just got more difficult for him. And before you ask, All Might did hear about the news, but because he's out of time, he cannot go see them, or he will blow his cover. Even though he said screw it and he wanted to see Midoriya, Nizu was able to calm him down and tell him to not blow his cover. We still need you. Then Deku's phone started ringing, so Aizawa and the Recovery Girl took a peek and it's Deku's mom. They looked at each other. Should we tell her? Aizawa asked. Well, we can only keep him a few hours. After that, she will be worried. So it will not make any difference if you tell her now or later. Aizawa nodded and he picked up Deku's phone. He answered the call. His mom was a bit surprised to see or to hear Aizawa, but Aizawa only told her to come to UA. It's urgent. She's getting worried and she told him, did he broke his hand again? Aizawa just told her to come to UA. Then they ended the call. After a few, let's say an hour or so, I don't know how far UA is from Deku's house. His mom was taking a stick to recovery girl. She asked him where is Izuku. They looked down and they showed her Izuku. She was shocked, needless to say, and she started crying. What happened to him? They explained that some students misunderstood the situation and attacked him, but this only bring up some bad memories to Inko. She started breathing rapidly, then she passed out. And before anyone can catch her, she fell to the ground, hitting her head. The hero started caring for her and the recovery girl realized that hit to the head is way more serious than she thought. So she started doing surgery. But after that she was taken to the hospital because they don't have the equipment in UA or the specific equipment to treat her. So while this is happening, the traitors or the group slowly start walking toward Class 1A, packing their stuff. When they arrive, everyone starts shooting daggers at them because Mineta told them what they did. And by the way, Ida and Todoroki already left because Todoroki wanted to see his mom and Ida wanted to see his brother. So after they enter, Tsuyu walked toward Mina and Oraka and she slapped them hard. And they start berating them for doing that to Izuku. Izuku, the same person that willingly broke all his fingers and arm in the sport festival to save Todoroki and force him to use his co-work. How could they think that he's the traitor? On top of that, didn't you say that he saved you in entrance exam? So how do you think that someone is willing to sacrifice his life for you will turn out to be a traitor? Oraka started crying and told them she was overwhelmed with Bakugo and Mina forcing her. So they started an argument, and while they are doing this, Deku slowly regained consciousness. He started thinking that was a nightmare or something. Then he saw that was not a nightmare. He started crying because his friends, his best friend, just betrayed him. Recovery girl saw him and she tried to calm him down. Then Deku saw how late it is and he decided to call his mom to reassure her. Recovery girl looked down and she told him about that kid. Deku got worried. What happened? So she told him, and when she finished her sentence and she told him what happened, something deep inside Deku just broke. He tried to get up and tell her that he needs to see his mom. She tried to calm him down and make him stay put, but Deku just overpowered her. But the second he put his feet on the ground, he fell because they're still broken. And he started using every willpower that he had to stand up and start walking slowly. Then he slowly started walking normally. Then he slowly started running. It looks like that his legs are healed already. So he started making his way outside of UA, and in the way he met up with Class 1A for the sake of the plot by accident. And after they saw the state that he's in, they were shocked and horrified. And after Deku saw them, the one that beat him up, he told them how, why, my mom. Then he saw Bakugo. Kachan, I thought that my mom, because of you. Bakugo in fit of rage because he know that he's done for. He punched Deku in the face and tell him this is all your fault. You worthless trash. And immediately the boss of Class 1A capture him to make sure that he doesn't do any more damage to him. Seiya wrap him with his tape. Tokuyami do the same with Dark Shadow. Basically he's captured and he cannot do anything. And all these commotions caused to Class 1B to come to see what happened. They asked what happened, then they saw Deku's state. They were horrified. What happened to Midoriya, they asked. So Mineta told them what happened. All of them were shocked and angry at the group. Then Monoma speak up from all the people and told them, I know that Class 1A were idiots, but not this much. In the other hand, Deku started thinking what happened to him and he started repeatedly thinking about Bakugo's words again and again in a loop. Then he felt it. Deep inside of him something just completely broke to pieces. He stopped sobbing. He slowly raised his head and everyone saw the last tears from his eyes fall down his cheek. And also the light just disappeared from Deku's eyes. And his usual green eyes just turned and become grey. Then his face started changing to something that they never saw before. His face started changing to a face full with rage. Deku screamed at the top of his lungs. Everything around him started shaking and breaking, and everyone was pushed away, freeing Bakugo. Deku locked eyes with Bakugo and he instantly jumped toward him with immense speed that no one saw him use before. and he punched him in the gut, making him spit up blood. And from the sheer force of the impact, Bakugo was sent crashing into the ceiling. And when he was going back to the ground, Deku kicked him through the window and outside of UA, while outside of the building of UA. Everyone was shocked about the power in display. Then Deku turned his head toward the one that beat him up. First, Kirishima, he tell him, Midoriya bros, look, stop, I'm sorry. But before he can finish his sentence, Deku kicked him in his hand, breaking it. Kirishima screamed in pain. Then Deku grabbed him by his head and slammed him as hard as he can against the ground. Then he raised his foot and slammed him as hard as he can in his shoulder, breaking it also, completely destroying his right hand, and Kirishima was sent through the ground. Then Deku locked eyes with Kaminari. Deku rushed toward him, and by instinct Kaminari used his electricity. At first it shocked Deku, but Deku slowly started getting control back, and he punched Kaminari so hard that he made him spit up blood. And because Deku is covered head to toe with electricity, that attack also shocked Kaminari quite a lot. Then Deku turned to Mina. Class 1 tried to stop him, but Deku is just out of control. He zoomed past everyone and charged at Mina, grabbing her by her face and accidentally letting out all the electricity at the same time, so Mina have a nice crispy mark on her face. Then Deku, still holding her by her face, slammed her as hard as he can against the ground, knocking her out. Then lastly, Oraka. When Deku looked at her, she was afraid and she tried to apologize and tell him, wait, Deku. But the second she said that, Deku got even more angry. He grabbed her hand and squeezed until it broke. Then he gave her the same treatment that Hall gave to Loki and Thor. And by the end of it, Oraka is just broken. Then Deku looked at the others. They were afraid, but Deku did nothing. Then Aizawa arrived after hearing the commotion. He saw Deku having blood on his hand, and everyone that betrayed him are on the ground bleeding. But what shocked him even more, the look in his eyes. Is just full with rage and no life behind it. He quickly canceled his quirk, wrapped his scarf around him and tell him, Midoriya, stop! But then something else happened that shocked him. Deku's eyes started glowing red. His wound, his hair started regrowing and healing immediately in front of his eyes. Then Deku, without breaking a sweat, he broke free and tore apart the scarf of Aizawa, shocking him. Then Deku grabbed the scarf, pulled Aizawa toward him and kneed him in the gut. And that attack have such punch that it knocked Aizawa out cold. And at the same time, the heroes or the teachers just arrived to see Deku knocking out Aizawa. And needless to say, the teachers were shocked, especially Mike. Not only he was able to knock Aizawa out cold, he's also already healed and his eyes are red. They asked him what is he doing. Deku did not reply. He looked to the window and jumps off it, going straight to Bakugo. And for Bakugo, he's slowly getting up after Deku's beatdown. He cannot believe that Deku did this much damage with only a couple of hits. Then by the corner of his eye, he saw something coming straight toward him, and it's fast. And it was Deku, and he barely was able to avoid him. And when Deku punched the ground, he created a crater. Bakugo was shocked about the level of destruction. Deku? And the second he said that, Deku turned around and giving him a look that it resembled the look that a predator is giving to his prey. Then Deku charged at him, Bakugo throwing an explosion to push Deku away from him. He was covered with smoke. Bakugo smirked, thinking that he did hurt him again, but his smirk quickly went away when Deku punched him through the smoke, breaking his nose and some of his teeth. Bakugo is dumbstruck. But before he can register what happened, Deku launched at him once again and they start fighting, or it's not a fight actually, it's more like a one-sided beatdown. Bakugo cannot have a moment to breathe. Deku is relentless, and at first Bakugo was able to keep up and dodge some Deku's attacks, but slowly Deku is getting stronger and faster. So Bakugo started getting the beatdown of his life. So the teachers arrive and they're trying to stop Deku, mainly Cementos and Ectoplasm. Thing is, they cannot get close. Ectoplasm clones were basically just one shot from Deku, and for Cemento, Deku is just too fast and strong. He cannot keep up with him, and when he does, Deku easily break whatever he make. Midnight tried to get close and use her quirk on them. They were able to distract Deku using Mike's quirk, because they tried talking to him and it doesn't work. So when Deku gets surrounded with the smoke or the mist, he clap, like thunderclap of Hulk, sending a shockwave that pushed everything and everyone away from him. Then Midnight looked at Deku and she was horrified. Deku is looking daggers at them, his eyes glowing red, and he have this menacing aura around him that is making everyone froze in their place. And by the way, Bakugo cannot keep up anymore, he's just too beaten up by Deku. And after this, he tried to get up, but Deku just knee him in the gut. He spit up blood and Deku started continuing his beat down. Then he grabbed him by his face and slammed him against the ground. Then he raised his hand to land the finishing blow, but before he can do that, someone punched him away. It's Moro. He arrived with the rest of Victory after they heard the commotion. He smiled and told Deku, "Hey now there, I guess, fellow student, why are you beating up your classmate?" Deku did not reply, he just stared at him. And that sent a chill down Mirio's spine. He did fight some villains before because of his internship with Night Eye, but this is different. He can feel it already. He will be in trouble if he doesn't take this fight seriously. And while they're having the standoff, Tamaki walked to Bakugo and see him bloody and beaten on the ground. And when he saw that, he charged at them. Mirio thinks he's charging at him, so he faced through him. But then he saw that he's heading straight to Bakugo. But Tamaki and Nijiri were able to dodge Deku's attack and save Bakugo. He's still conscious, by the way, barely, but still. So he's telling them or cursing at them to let him be. He can't defend himself from this loser. He looked at Deku and Deku's eyes glow even more redder, and because of that he was afraid. He started shaking. Deku got up and started walking toward them. Tamaki tried to use his tentacles to grab him, but Deku just easily broke them. So Miro jumped in and started fighting him. At first he was able to push Deku away, but he soon realized that his punches are not doing a lot of damage. And Deku is getting stronger and stronger by the second. And also he's learning how to fight. Doing their fight. And after a bit Deku had enough, he yelled and he powered up. He was surrounded with a pink aura, and that gave him a much more menacing look. So Mario using his quirk charged at him and he punched him in his face, but Deku was not fazed. He quickly grabbed Mirio's hand and threw him away. Then he charged at Tamaki because he's still holding Bakugo. And because of that they realized that he's going after him specifically. He doesn't care about the others or the teachers. So the teachers step in front of him to stop him or slow him down. And Tamaki gave Bakugo to Nijiri to flew him away. And when he saw that Deku leap after her, he was getting close, so Nijiri used her Nijiri wave to push him away. But right before he hit the ground, he was able to stop himself mid-flight, shocking everyone. Then he turned around, looked at Nijiri, then he started flying toward her. She fired another Nijiri wave at him, but just like pure instinct, Deku stick his right hand and fire a blast, and that shocked everyone, so the blast collided and they cancelled each other out. Then Deku started looking at his hand, and after a second he glared at Nijiri and he charged at her. She tried to run away, but Deku is just too fast for her. Instantly he was in front of her, he grabbed Bakugo and pushed her away, and he resumed his beatdown. So do you guys remember what Omni-Man did to Invincible in that fight? With him punching him around up in the sky? So it's just like that, just replace Omni-Man with Deku and Invincible with Bakugo. After that Deku punched Bakugo toward the ground, then he flew down. Bakugo is bloody and beaten and barely alive at this point. The teachers tell him to calm down and stop. Deku did not reply at all. They tried to stop him using their quirks, but Deku just overpowered them all with just a single power up. Then Deku grabbed both Bakugo's hand, he looked him dead in the eyes and smirked. Then he started firing beams at them. Bakugo screamed in pain. And after Deku was done, he let go of him, and Bakugo's hands are damaged beyond repair. Even if he survived this, he cannot use his quirk anymore. Nijiri and the rest of Big Tree tried to hurt Deku. The only person that was able to somewhat push him back was Nijiri, but Deku just is simply too powerful for them right now. Then Deku put both of his hands together and started charging a blast. A much powerful blast than last time, and everyone realized that he's going for the finishing blow. Once again they tried to stop him, but to no avail. And at the very last second before Deku threw the blast at Bakugo, someone said, "I'm sorry young Midoriya," and he chopped his neck, knocking him out. And that person was All Might. He was there, he saw the fight, so he knew that he's the only person that he's able to knock Deku out. Then All Might looked at Deku. "Young Midoriya, what was that?" So after this, all of them were taken to Recovery Girl. They did a quick checkup on Deku to see what happened to him, but they found nothing except that he's fully healed. And for the others, well, let's just say that they have permanent damage. For Oraka, she will not be able to open her hand fully or use it at 100% again. For Mina, she will have a permanent scar on her face. For Kirishima, Same thing with Oraka, but this time his whole arm. Deki was able to survive with some bruises, but he will be fine. But that punch that Deku delivered did break some ribs. And lastly, for Bakugo, where should I start? He have a lot, and I mean a lot of broken bones. Recovery Girl was able to heal most of them, but his hands are a lost cause. He will be able to use them a bit, but he will not able to use his quirk ever again. And they soon realize what happened. Deku gave them the same treatment that they gave to him. Because the burn on Deku's face was mostly for Mina's acid, that's why he burned her face. For Oraka, they assumed she used her quirk on him. Same for Bakugo and Kaminari and Kurishima. That's why he broke what they hurt him with. So fast forward a couple of hours and Deku woke up. He said to himself that it was a dream. Then he saw All Might. Hi All Might. All Might looked at him in a bit of shock. Young Midoriya, are you? You're back to your senses? What do you mean, All Might? All Might was shocked. Same for Recovery Girl. You cannot remember? Why are you looking at me like that? What happened? But I had just a weird dream right now. It was a bit scary, not going to lie. I got betrayed by my friends. My mom is in hospital. Weird, right? Then you look at them and they give him a look that tell him that was not a dream. Deku froze. Then he started thinking that was not a dream. That means that my mom. Then he looked down. Then All Might told them that he was going to bring Nizu with him. Meanwhile, Deku started thinking what happened. He's going to berate you and take his quirk back. No, it can't be. Think about it. Your mom in the hospital, but he didn't console you. He was going to bring the other teachers and Nizu. But why? You know why. You can remember. Don't lie to yourself. Then Deku started remembering what happened a couple of hours ago with him going berserk and you know the rest. Wait, that's... Yes. And now he's afraid of you. He will take his quirk back and they will expel you for what you did to him, like they always do. Whatever you do, you are always at fault. You're right. And honestly, I don't care anymore. I need to see my mom. Then Deku asked Recovery Girl where they take his mom in a cold manner. She was a bit shocked, then she told him where. Deku gets up and starts walking to the door. She tried to stop him, but Deku just glared at her and told her to stay away from him. He exits the door only to see his teachers, mainly Aizawa, Mike, All Might, and Nizu. Young Midoriya, where? Then All Might saw his look and he stopped. Then Deku speak up. Don't bother wasting your breath and wasting my time. I know the drill, and I know where the exit is. They try to talk to him and stop him, then Aizawa stop him using his scarf and tell him, Midoriya, stop. Let go of me, Deku tell him. Stop, we need to talk. Deku got angry, he grabbed Aizawa's scarf and pulled him toward him. Then he grabbed him and pushed him against the wall. What do you want to talk about? I already know the script already. You will berate me and you'll take that bastard's side. Every teacher, every school did that. Aizawa's eyes widened, same for All Might and Nizu. Wait, we just need to talk. Then Deku cut them off. You want to talk? Fine, let's talk. Let's talk on how much he beated me ever since I was 5. Let's talk about how much he always pushed me down because I was quirkless. Let's talk about the fact that he told me to end myself. And no one did anything about it. He was always the golden child. He can do no wrong. All of this just because he have a powerful quirk. No one cared for me when I was quirkless, and no one will when I have this quirk with me. Then Deku tear up a bit. Everyone but her. She's the only one that treated me like a human being, and she supported me even before I got my quirk. Then Deku's eyes turned red, and those bastards took her away from me. Even after all I did, nothing has changed. Stain was right. Every hero is a fake. Friendship and trust be damned. They don't care about those things. And from now on, neither will I. So don't waste your breath, Eraserhead. Like I told you, I know the script, so don't waste my time. And I know where the exit is. Aizawa was going to say something, but Deku swiped him away, directly at All Might, and All Might was able to catch him. Midoriya, stop! But Deku is not listening. He power up one for all and start running. All Might thought of going after him, but because he have a time limit and he's barely holding on to his muscular form as it is, he can't. But unbeknownst to them, behind the corner, the big three, some from class 1A and some from class 1B, heard everything. So not only they were shocked that Izuku, the kindest person that they ever knew, have this rough of a past, but now they realize what Deku lost it earlier. Those bastards basically took the only person that cared for him, and if they were in his shoes, they would have done the same. And immediately Nizu dispatched some robot to stop Deku, and he closed the gate. They know right now he's not stable mentally to walk outside. And with the power that he displayed earlier, they're afraid of the worst that can happen. So while Deku is running, he saw the robots and that made him angry. They tried to stop him from seeing his mom. So with that he lost control a bit and he powered up to 10% of One For All. He easily went through the robots, and when he arrived at the gate he just jumps on top of it. Then he started making his way toward the hospital. When he arrived he quickly asked where is his mom's room. And when he saw her, he fell to his knees and started crying. And then he asked the doctor if she will be okay. The doctor gave an apologetic look and tell him, sorry kid, but she's in a coma right now and we don't think that she can make it through. Deku's eyes widened and he told him that she just bumped her head. Yes, we know, but this is the result not only because of her hitting her head, but it's also a result of her unhealthy lifestyle for a few years now, I assume. Deku started crying and started telling himself, she's like this because of me? No, she's like this because of him. And when he said that, his eyes turned red. And with this, I'm going to stop it right here. So what do you think of it, guys? What is this weird power that Deku is having right now? What will Yue and Deku do about it? What will happen next? Leave your thoughts in comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, and if you are new, subscribe. There's more videos like this coming, and like always guys, peace.